All right, let's talk about the dairy aisle in Malaysia. Because right now there's a huge battle going on between two titans. You've got a 60-year-old household legend on one side, and on the other, a lightning-fast challenger that is completely changing the game. Okay, let's get into it.
So, let's put you in the driver's seat for a second. Imagine you've got 1,000 ringgit right now, ready to invest. Where are you putting that money? Are you going with the established, reliable champion that your parents and grandparents grew up with? Or are you betting on the dynamic newcomer that's shaking everything up? That's really the core question we're going to unpack here. And this, right here, pretty much sums up the two completely different stories you're buying into. With Dutch Lady, you're getting stability, you're getting legacy, classic old money. But with Farm Fresh, you're looking at aggressive, new wave growth. It is the textbook definition of a showdown. Proven performance versus massive future potential.
Okay, first up, let's start in this corner with the reigning champion. I mean, we're talking about a company that's basically a synonym for milk in Malaysia. Dutch Lady.
And don't get it twisted, these guys are an absolute giant, pulling in nearly 1.5 billion ringgit in sales every single year. In terms of sheer volume, Dutch Lady still commands the market. This number is the bedrock of their entire company.
So what are they bringing to the table? Well, for starters, a 60-year legacy. Everyone knows their name. They've got this steady, predictable 4% growth. But here's the thing. They're not just sitting back and relaxing. They've poured money into a new mega factory to get more efficient, and it's already working. That move helped a recent quarterly profit just skyrocket by 86%, all by cutting down on transition costs. This is not a company that's resting on its laurels. This is a veteran sharpening its sword for the next fight.
So, what does this all mean for you as an investor? Well, here's the bottom line. Dutch Lady is a cash flow machine. Their earnings per share is a really strong RM 1.74, and they take those solid earnings and give a chunk of it back to you, the shareholder, as a dividend. It's a classic value play. They literally pay you for your patience while they keep on optimizing.
Okay, now let's switch corners. Let's talk about the challenger, Farm Fresh. These guys burst onto the scene with a totally different kind of energy and a strategy that's all about one thing: speed.
So you look at this chart, and yeah, Dutch Lady is still the top dog in total sales. But look at Farm Fresh. They're not some small startup. They're already a billion ringgit company. So yeah, there's a gap, but it's definitely not as big as you might think.
Okay, but this is where the real story is. This slide right here changes the whole conversation. Farm Fresh is growing its sales at a mind-blowing 20%. That's 5 times faster than Dutch Lady. They're not just trying to close the gap, they're in an all-out sprint to take the lead.
So you're probably wondering, how in the world are they doing that? Well, it's not just about selling more milk. They have a secret weapon, and it's ice cream. Their Cream House brand, which is pretty new, already makes up 12% of their total sales. And this isn't just some side hustle, it's a huge part of their profit engine.
And this is exactly why that little ice cream slice matters so much. Just look at the margins. The profit on their ice cream is a massive 50%. That's way higher than the 33% they get from their regular milk products. Every single scoop they sell is like pouring rocket fuel on their profits, which they can then use to grow even faster.
So what's their playbook? It's actually pretty simple and super aggressive. First, they went in and just dominated the chilled milk space. They own 60% of that market. Now, they're taking all that money, plus the super high profits from the ice cream, and pumping it right back into expanding into new countries and going straight after the big guys like Nestle and Walls.
Okay, so we've got two fantastic companies, right? Two totally different strategies. But for an investor, the big question is always, what's the price of admission? What does it cost to get a piece of either of these stories? This is the tale of the tape.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter. You see, the stock market is betting big on Farm Fresh's future. It's valuing their potential way higher than Dutch Lady's current success. So you have to ask yourself, are you buying the proven history or are you buying the hype?
All right, let's crunch the numbers. The first thing that jumps out is the P/E ratio. You're paying 43 times what Farm Fresh earns, compared to a much more reasonable 17 times for Dutch Lady. And that is why Farm Fresh's total market value is almost 3 times bigger, even though they sell less and make way less profit per share right now. The market is basically saying, we believe their earnings are going to explode and catch up to that price. Meanwhile, Dutch Lady's just sitting there, offering that solid dividend, reinforcing that whole cash flow story.
So when you lay it all out, the strategy, the numbers, the price you have to pay, it really just boils down to a fundamental choice. It's your money, and it's your call.
It really is this clear. You have to choose your fighter. On one side, you have Dutch Lady. That's your classic dividend play. You're investing for that steady, reliable cash and proven value. On the other side, you've got Farm Fresh. That is the pure growth play. You're betting on their aggressive expansion and the potential for huge returns down the road.
And that brings us right back to where we started. There's no single right answer here. There's only what's right for your strategy. So, which is it going to be? The stability of the dividend payout or the high-octane potential of the growth play? The choice is yours.